Yo, what's up? This is Jameson with Kozmo King TCG here to do a Witchcrafter control deck profile. Took me a little bit to get the creation since Konami decided to super short print things again, which really shouldn't be a surprise. But let's go ahead and jump onto this deck profile. For our big witches, I play one of the Madam or Smug Lolly. It's basically skill drain on legs for your opponent's side of the field. You just gotta ditch a spell card. And if a spellcaster monster battles during damage calculation, you can reveal spells in your hand, and your opponent or your monster gains 1,000 attack and defense for every spell card with a different name that's in your hand. Her effect is, of course, like a hard once per turn, as is with all the other Witchcrafter monsters. Next, I play the one Hane. It's basically Trident on legs for the deck. Ditch a spell card, pop a card, quick effect. Oh, also her effect is a quick effect as well for both of them. And while she's face up on field, your opponent is unable to target your other Witchcrafter monsters except it. Next up, we play the one Edel. You ditch a spell card, special summon a Witchcraft monster from hand, or you contribute her and special summon a Witchcrafter monster from grave. Sometimes you have to go into her because you'll open up the Smug Lolly, and you want her out on board because she's like literally the best one. For the smaller ones and your starter cards, or starter monsters at least, we have 3 Schmidta. They all have the same first effect where you contribute. You can basically tribute this, ditch a spell card from hand, and special summon a Witchcrafter monster from deck. Her secondary effect is when she's in the graveyard, you can banish her and send any Witchcrafter card from deck to grave. Of course, hard ones per turn. Next up, we have 2 Witchcrafter, Patoir, however the hell you're supposed to pronounce it. Has the same effect where you ditch, in the main phase, ditch a spell card, and tribute it to special summon a Witchcrafter monster from deck, except itself, of course. And when she's in grave, you can banish her, draw a card, and then discard a Witchcrafter card from hand, or you have to banish your whole hand. Next up, we play 2 of, I don't know how to pronounce that, but we play 2 of the smallest Lolly. Ditch a spell card, tribute, bring out another one, and if she's in grave and you have no cards in hand, you can banish her and add 1 Witchcrafter card in your graveyard to your hand. That's the only bad part about her effect, is if you have no cards in your hand. Onto the spells. We of course play triple Witchcrafter creation. This lets you add any of the Witchcrafter monsters from deck to hand, and also it has a second. All the spell cards have a secondary effect where if this card's in your graveyard and you control a Witchcrafter monster, you can add it back to hand at end phase, but you can only use one of its effects per turn. So if you use the first effect, you can't use the second one. But like the spells come in real clutch. Was the hardest one to find. Next up, we play. Well, I play 2 Witchcrafter Holiday. It's okay to open. Like, there's not much you're gonna really do with it going first, and it's kind of what you want to do most of the time. But you get to target a Witchcrafter monster in grave and add it back to hand, and of course it still has the other effect. Use if it's in your grave and you have a Witchcrafter monster, you can add it back to hand. Play the 1 Draping. You can target spell or trap cards your opponent controls up to the number of Witchcrafter monsters you control, and return them, the targeted cards, back to hand. And it has the end phase effect as well. 1 Scroll. Basically, once per turn, when one of your Witchcrafter monsters destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can draw a card. Also, it has an effect to where it can't. If a Witchcrafter card would have to discard a spell card for an effect, you can send this from field to grave instead of ditching one from your hand. And also, if since the continuous ones are a little bit different, instead of going to your hand, they go back on the field. Play one by street. Basically, it's kind of like Draconic Diagram for the deck, just with the protection. The first time a Witchcrafter monster would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, it's protected. It has the same pitch type effect that Scroll does, and the same recurrence effect as the rest of them. That's all I really play for the Witchcrafter spells. Like, it's easy to get things in grave or in your hand, and searching things or sending specific things to grave can help out really well. And for like your biggest draw power, I'm playing triple Pot of Extravagance because you really don't go into your extra deck that much. So banish 6 to draw 2. Card says draw 2, so it's really good, especially for this, and can unbreak your hands and get you to the plays that you need to. Only downside is, of course, you can't draw anything else, and I only really run one other draw card. But I do play double Foolish Burial Goods just because the spells have that effect, and because I play the one Metaphos Fusion. So even if this is in deck or your hand, it's still usable because you can send off with Burial Goods, or you can ditch with any of the Witchcrafter monster's primary effects, get your special summon, and then still be able to draw another card. To block off the opponent, we of course play triple Secret Village, because if you control a spellcaster monster, your opponent doesn't, they can't activate spell cards. So that's just really good against most decks, except for like the second decks. But even still, you're still stopping something important because they're not drawing to. Since this deck is very permeable to hand traps, like a hand trap can screw up your whole play, you play the triple Call by the Grave to hopefully not get ashed when you try to special summon from your deck or when you're using Extravagance. Because even still, like, it's a good bait card and you get to draw 2, but if it gets negated, you still don't get to. Next up, since I don't main any hand traps for going first, I do main the One Reasoning, since they're all different levels from like level 2 to level 8. So you're bound to hit something, and it can help get some of your extra spells in grave. We play the one Super Polymerization. Some of the biggest decks, except for like Striker, you can steal their monsters to make another monster. Like with Salad, you can bring out the Violet Chimera against any of the Danger variant decks. You can bring out the Predator Plant guy, the Starving Venom. Couldn't find a Predator Plant guy, but we'll get into extra deck when we get there. But this is still really good because you can just take things if you go against Thunder, Danger Dragon, Guard Dragon, whatever, and they have the Abyss out. You just play this first, take the Abyss and whatever other dark monster they have, and just bring out your fusion. Next up, I do play 2 Instant Fusion. Thousand Eyes Restrict is a spellcaster. I would have play Millennium Eyes if I had one, but again, we'll get into extra deck when we get there. It's pretty self-explanatory. And of course, I play the One Monster Reborn, because sometimes taking things from your opponent's graveyard is still good. That's why I run 1 of that and 2 of the Holiday, because sometimes like you can get kind of stuck and just steal something big from your opponent's grave. And for the trap lineup, I play the 2 Rivalry of the Warlords, everything spellcaster to lock things out. And if you have this and Secret Village and they have a monster out, they can't go into Clara in main phase 2 to be able to activate spells, so it helps you block that out a little bit. And if you're playing against like Striker or whatever and destroy one of the Link monsters, they can't bring Ray out. And of course, we have to play Summon Limit. I'm playing it at 2 because I kept opening multiples like in my opening hands. You want more spells than you want traps. That's why I only run 6 traps. But of course, Summon Limit, only get to summon twice. The max amount of times you're going to summon in a turn is 3 if you're lucky. So this card's really good in this deck. And last but not least, I play 2 Solemn Strike. I don't own in permanent, so pay 15, destroy is the best I'm going to get right now. That's it for the main deck. Main deck is 41 cards. I couldn't figure out what to take out for the... to make it even 40. But like, testing has been like pretty good and pretty consistent. I've only bricked like 2 of the games I tested, and I played probably like 15 matches or something yesterday. But for our extra deck, most of it is just like for extravagance, because you're not going to use it most of the time, and if you do, it's going to be very rare. Like, I only went and did my extra deck twice yesterday out of every time I played. But to start out, we of course play the double Thousand Eyes Restrict. I would change one out for Millennium Eye so you get that effect negation, but that's hard to find because no one opens that Pegasus thing, and I only know one person that had it at the time, and they wouldn't get rid of it. But I'll get it eventually, hopefully before we get the next line of support. Next up, I play the 2 Violet Chimera because as soon as they go like have Balinks and Gazelle out, just take them, bring this guy out. They're kind of stuck. They won't be able to add back their trap or whatever they're wanting to add back, and you just go over everything. Play the 1 Starving Venom Fusion Dragon for like the dark decks or anything with like danger, just to get take away resources and everything. This I would definitely play more than one of. I would bump this up to 2 because I had a lot of games where like I was able to do like 2 games I was able to do Thousand Eyes Restrict play. I kept banishing Link Karibo off of Extravagance, but I would play this at 2. Next up, I play Double Cerberus. Just play 2 because of Extravagance. 2 Phoenix. The same thing. Everything else is at 1 because I'm not paying for 2 just for the Extravagance. But you barely go in them anyway. They're just there as options just in case. That's the 1 Nightmare Unicorn, the Borreload, and the Borrelsword Dragon. They're just there. Good thing you could side into with this deck as well would be like mind controls. That way you can use the extra deck more. And I played 2 rank 4s, and just for the hell of it. I played the 1 Abyss Dweller and the 1 Evil Swarm Exciton Knight, just because to lock out Grave and blow shit up. Nothing wrong with that. Thank you guys for watching. I will play test decks more. Probably do an update here in like a week or so, or like a couple days to a week, depending on how things go. And we'll have more profiles coming up. One of my friends just finished Evil Eye and the Infernity track deck, so like hopefully like I'll be able to get those from them pretty soon. We have a TG deck profile that we got to film. Everything's already together. That's either Dooms on that. But if you guys enjoy or like to see any future videos, just subscribe down below. Comment with any suggestions or anything else you guys have. Have a nice day, and catch you guys later.